All right, Ludo, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Where are you? So where are you calling in from today?
Bali, Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got the headset because there's a lot of wet tropic noises out there.
Yeah, and I see that that's mosquito netting behind you, is it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah. There you go.
a must-have. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like start off with just tell folks a bit about, who you are, the work that you do and why you do it.
Okay. Well, I'm really Bourdon. From France originally. I spent 12 years in Canada. That's where I met permaculture. All my permaculture trainings and knowledge is coming from my experience in Canada, a lot due to Verge and Rob Davis.
Yeah.
Um, and what I do is I'm a consultant in regenerative agriculture. At the moment, my biggest client is Ecosia, the ecosia.org, the search engine that plants its tree, because there is a bunch. Yeah, I try to help as much as I can in projects. That's the basic of a consultant. It's pretty remote, or people have zero training. There's no tools, or situations that are fairly complicated. You can't pop to the hardware store and buy a piece of pipe or whatever. That what makes it very interesting to me, troubleshooting all the problems.
Yeah.
And the traveling bits, definitely getting
Yeah.
into different cultures. And yeah.
Yeah. So where are the main places that you're working right now?
At the moment, and it's somewhat on its way out now. I've been working for 2 years, pretty much 1 month in, 1 month out in Burkina Faso, one of the biggest tree planting partner for Ecosia. This is West Africa.
Wow.
Dry land, very much dry land, 3 months of rain.
Yeah.
On something that is fairly small for them, for this company. The company is called Ometer. Yeah, the project is fairly small. It's a pilot project that's 40 hectares. And for them, I think this year they're doing like 12,000 hectares of land regeneration. So,
wow.
but on a different scale, on a different, sorry, not on a different scale, on a different techniques. They have a plow that makes mini plows that makes half moons. And then after that, in a partnership with the villagers that they partner with, they plant seeds and put fertility, usually goat manure, in half moons. And so this is one technique that they have.
Yeah.
And this pilot project is more towards how can we diversify the techniques on a smaller land, 40 hectares, yet thinking large scale. How do we, apply this that needs to be applied on that piece of land, but thinking on how we do it on a much larger scale. So very interesting, because it is what everything that I said before, complicated and plus 40 degrees and super dusty, and yeah, the village is very remote. There is no running water. I mean, this is not for everybody, definitely. But the solutions that we could find there could be applied on a very, very large scale. So
Yeah.
very, very interesting to me.
That's crazy. So how long have you been working with Ecosia?
Since I got in contact with them at the end of 2018, and I think the first projects in Burkina. originally had to, the plan was to go in Tanzania, but it didn't go through. And so I ended up going to Burkina, and that was just at the beginning of 2019.
Okay. So you've been there kind of about going on 3 years then. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 rainy season. That's what makes the big difference.
Yeah, yeah, totally. That's wild, man. So how did you start doing this stuff? Like I know you mentioned that you were raised in or grew up in France, right? And then you
Yeah.
came to Canada. What was it that kind of, when did you get the permaculture bug?
Yeah. When did I get infected? Um, I was doing renovations in France, and that's also, I think, in Canada. That's also one of the things that I think helps me with the way I do work right now, is being able to manage jobs and
Yeah,
having a lot of different people working and stuff.
yeah,
And at the same time, I was doing very intensively rock climbing, and I hurt myself once with the tendinitis. Nothing bad, but my body saying, okay, you need to stop that.
yeah.
I didn't listen. I kept on going. I hurt myself so bad that I couldn't lift my tools or anything for a year. I couldn't work.
Wow.
And so I started to spin my wheels, and I thought, okay, you know what? If I need to change my way of earning money, I'm going to do something that I absolutely don't know about, but that I'm very attracted to. I'm going to do spin farming. And yeah, I was in Kelowna, so that was easy. The spin farming was booming there
Yeah,
with Curtis and other folks.
yeah,
So I started very much from nothing. And as I was learning and trying to find solutions and how this could be going better, I ran into permaculture. One day, Rob was doing a little speech about his introduction to permaculture
yeah,
coming up. That was, I think, the Friday night, and then Saturday, Sunday was the introduction to permaculture. And
yeah,
so I went to this talk, and I was like, okay, I came home, and I was like, okay, this weekend I'm going, because it seems really good.
yeah.
And I did this intro, and it was just, okay, boom, this is linking everything that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I gotta do that.
So when was that? Like what year was that introduction course you took?
It was in 2000, and it's gonna come back. Nine. No, sorry. It's it will come back.
No worries. Because you said you
Yeah.
you started with the Cosia in 2019.
Yeah. It was in 2012, I believe.
Oh wow, yeah, that was the same year I took my course as well. It was 2012.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took a I made some notes because the dates I never remember.
Yeah, I'm bad for that too.
2000 intro 2011.
Okay.
Right there.
Yeah.
And then 2012 was my first PDC with Verge.
Wow.
And that was life changing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rob.
I know so I took my first course in 2012, but it wasn't from Rob Michel at Verge. It was another course, and like it was good, but like it wasn't anything close to what they put on. And so I struggled for a couple of years to kind of navigate my way through it. And I think it was 2015 maybe or 16 that I finally took a course with them. And I was co-teaching part of it.
Oh yeah.
But it was incredible.
Yeah, for me, his style is, I mean, every teacher has a different style, but it really resonated with me. It was a lot of information, and I didn't need to do a lot of practical at the time, because that's what I was doing for work, renovations and working in the fields, and I didn't need any of that. I just needed a ton of info, and I got a ton of info, and translate this into something very, very specific to me as I was going through what permaculture is and all this. I think right after the PDC, I took some courses like biology, like intensive, weekends, stuff like this, composting, things like that, because I was just so into it, but not really, like for the farming that I was, or the urban farming that I was doing, but not much more than that.
Yeah.
And then one year, as always, a Canadian winter being a bit too cold for me, I was looking for somewhere to go, but then I was already into the permaculture world. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try to go onto a farm in, Central America, somewhere, to work, to learn with my family. It's going to be fun. And I couldn't find any projects that were interesting to me. And so I went on to, because I wanted that to be tropical. So another option for me was to connect with French folks and see what was happening in the French islands, Caribbeans and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And completely unexpected, I found these guys that were saying, come and help us build the first training center in permaculture in Burkina Faso. I was like,
wow.
Burkina Faso, where is that? Okay, I looked in the map. It's like, okay, I know nothing about it. I'm going.
That's crazy.
That was my very much, I understood many things over there. And one thing that was very, very clear for me is that the type of permaculture I want to do is not urban. It's not, it wasn't like, at the time, not in Canada, but it was, it is still very, very clearly a type of work.
Yeah.
In degraded land, or if it's not degraded, in places where people don't really have the choice. They need to produce on their land. So how do we maximize this? How do we use this as a, creating more diversity? How do we use this land to create more habitats, more life?
Yeah. That's wild, man. Talk about jumping in with both feet.
Oh, this is what I do.
Yeah.
I right now, my next job is in Burundi.
Yeah.
And honestly, I had to look at, I know Burundi is in Africa, but where is it in Africa?
I couldn't find it on a map, but
it's super small.
Yeah.
And so I had to look into it, and that's where I find out that they made alcohol out of bananas, which is cool.
There you
I'll
go.
try to see if I can try some. But like I was saying right at the beginning, the traveling bit is an important part. I use permaculture to do whatever I can to fix this planet.
Yeah.
And travel.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you said you have a family as well?
Yeah. My wife and my 9-year-old son
Oh, wow.
are living in Bali.
And so do they come to all the projects with you?
No.
Okay.
No, it's, in Burkina Faso, it's just,
Yeah.
I never really can show images. I've got some movies on I think maybe my YouTube channel or Instagram that shows some very bad conditions on the field, but it's over there. The only time I wear my mask all the time because it's so dusty. It's just, and it's super hot. There is no water. It's not really a place I would want to bring my family. It's a place where I go to. I often refer to, when I talk to the guys in the field, refer to what I do as being a mechanic. So you bring your bike. You understand that usually I teach people that never went to school, or so it needs to be there is no pen and paper. There is a stick and the sand on the ground, and this is not stressful for them because that's how they function.
Yeah.
But if I bring, slideshows and all, it doesn't work. And so I explain, okay, I'm a mechanic. You have your broken bike, you bring it to me. Or you had an accident, I'm a surgeon, And so I I go to work to the hospital, but you don't really want to, you know, doctors don't really want to bring their family to the hospital. That's not where you go in holiday, you know?
Yeah.
This is how I look at it. I mean, not all the places I went are as difficult as Burkina, obviously.
Yeah.
Zanzibar is a place where we went in holiday many times with my family, definitely.
Yeah.
That's a different climate, yeah.
So what's been your, like, the reception of you kind of as an outsider coming into these villages with these, you know, I don't know if they're seen as crazy ideas there, but like, you know, in our community, you know, permaculture is like, it's far out there. What's that like? What's the response, you know, from the villages? What's it like for you? How does that?
It's very different.
Yeah.
It's very different because there's a lot of different things that come in play, and this is not a question of ego or racism or anything, but it's a reality.
Yeah.
That because I'm white,
Yeah.
when I come on site, I know more than them. They're
Yeah.
already in their head, right? They
Yeah.
put me above.
Yeah.
And so I need to do a lot of work. And usually that translates to physical work with the guys, joking in the fields and, you know, with the different language, but still like, you know, interacting in a way where we can just release this
Yeah.
difference that they put, the pedestal that they put me on.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's very difficult for me to get in contact with them. I'm just the boss or the, you know, the master or whatever they want to call me,
Yeah.
because they end up doing this
Yeah.
without me asking, obviously.
Yeah.
But also they are much more free to recognize a good solution when it's a good solution, versus I'm stuck in your system, talking about your side of the
Yeah.
screen here. I'm stuck
Yeah.
in my system. It works. I have a very big issue with the bank owning my life, but I don't really recognize it, so it's okay. And so I cannot see simple, you know, simple solutions that can be applied by me and my friends when I teach basic stuff, you know, farm on contour.
Yeah.
When it clicks, boom,
Yeah.
that's it. This is it. Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
more need to go on the internet to
Yeah.
find out about datas and or whatever. It's just, you
Yeah.
know, and in that way, the impact is much more. It's much more. How you call that? It's a question of a vibe. It makes sense, you know. You
Yep.
do it makes sense. Okay, let's go, you know. Like
Yeah.
it's not so intellectual and so
Yeah. Well, and
yeah.
there's probably no, like, you know, land use bylaws or, you know, agricultural development, you know, bureaucracies that you have to go to for, you know, approvals to do this stuff. It's just like you have an idea and you just do it. That's
Oh yeah, this is exactly, you know, I mean, I guess you can understand that I'm a bit more of a free spirit than
yeah.
the average folk, and that's definitely, um, you know, I can fly the drone anywhere. I mean, close to airports, obviously it doesn't work, but otherwise anywhere. And yeah, we can just, you know, in the project in Burkina Faso, we had this small hill, and the swell had to wrap around because it was just like super good, and the path was going up and down the hill. I mean, a hill. I'm talking it, and I'm saying a hill, but this is this is just a little hump,
Yeah.
right? Flatland. And we just explained to the chief in the village that we had to move the road, and to the mayor, and yeah, no problem, we
That's
move it.
crazy. That's so
It's
crazy.
just like just a conversation like we have a bit longer, maybe because in Africa you need to talk for a long time, but
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
That's
yeah.
so interesting. And that, no, that,
And
and
it was
that's,
very interesting to see the regeneration of that super heavily compacted. I mean, when I'm saying a road, this is like for a track of the, you know, a bike, right?
Oh, okay,
That's
yeah,
super compacted. It's
yeah,
not a road. But it's in the it's at the mayor's office. You can see the maps and you can see the road. Like we moved the road
okay,
without with just shaking hands. This is.
yeah, wow,
But yeah, the regeneration of this piece of land, this little super compacted thing, was very interesting to follow.
yeah,
You cannot see it after 2 years now. You cannot see it.
wow. And so
Very
like
cool.
the I'm sure like you said, once they kind of see the benefits of these systems, like they kind of jump on it. But like because you're in a desert climate and you've only been there for 2 rainy seasons, like how was it to like like did they get it right away without actually seeing kind of the benefits of these systems? Like, because like for a lot of people in our area, it's like no, they want to see something that's like been there for 20 years to like, oh yeah, okay, well now like we've seen that it works, now we'll shift. But like sounds like you've done
Yeah,
some amazing stuff in
that's
two,
what
two seasons.
that's what I'm talking about, being stuck in your box, because you
Yeah.
don't need 20 years. If you can read the landscape, and when you're a farmer, you can read the landscape, or
Oh
you
yeah.
can not read the landscape, maybe not as a farmer, but you can definitely read the evolution of the ecosystem. And
Yeah.
and I mean, when you're in dry land and you get more crop, when I'm talking about this, it wasn't in talking about working with people and them following up with the solutions that we were implementing. That wasn't in the work that I do with Ecosia, because this is a little bit different. With Ecosia, I am working for this company,
Yeah.
Ometer, and Ometer hires people to work on this, and for now it's a pilot project on a large scale. So we started to work with tractors and the very first Yeoman's plow
Wow.
in West Africa,
Wow.
and um, uh, so those those tools are not to scale for the farmers. I mean, they have, some of them just have just a couple of tools to dig, and that's it. So some of them don't even have animals, or plow. I'd say they all have animals, but not a plow.
Yeah.
So, but previously, the very first time I went to Burkina, we did some, collect the water from the showers into pits, and we planted papayas. And
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I remember. I don't have this picture. It's a beautiful picture. 2 years after the first time I went, we connected two showers onto a small strip, and then along this we put manure, a fairly wide one, and we put manure and straw and everything that needs to be
Yeah.
put in there that we can find. And we planted papayas. And the guy, when we started the project, couldn't buy one papaya at the farmer's market. It's just too expensive. It's
Wow.
whatever they wear on them, like the broken t-shirt they have, that's it. The
Wow.
kids
Wow.
don't have shoes, they all have big bellies. I mean, this is, we got from there to 2 years after, he told me, I have a problem, everybody is stealing from me now. I counted 70 papayas throughout the system, that small strip of just two
Wow.
showers used. And going from having, not capable of buying fruits, to having a surplus. I mean, it
Wow.
just makes sense. And some things make sense for the farmers or for the people, but some things don't make sense. And this was an example of how come not everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
I came to the village, and there was the one that I installed were installed, and people were stealing from the guys that had, instead of saying, hey, I got a shower as well,
Yeah.
let's do it for. And so some things work and some things don't. It's just, I don't know, maybe it's the approach or something makes it too complicated, too far from them to be able to do it.
Yeah.
It's Yeah.
That's interesting. And that's kind of what I was asking is like, yeah, like how how long, like, before you get kind of widespread cultural acceptance of like, this is a system that works, and like now it's not, you going and teaching all these people. It's just like they're seeing it, and kind of it's spreading within the culture. Have you started to see examples of that? I know you've only been there for a short time, but have you seen kind of the would you call like osmosis of
Well,
the
in the
information?
south of Burkina, sorry,
No, it's just a bit of delay. Go ahead.
the internet was yeah, okay. Uh, in the south of Burkina, and where I am in with can you hear me now?
Yep.
Well, there is
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's good.
And where I am working with in not the north of the country, because there is a lot of fighting over there, but not too far from the capital.
Yeah.
There I can see how guys that are hired to work in the project are starting to be innovative, but not quite yet on their land. And that's the next step, is
Mm,
how do we bring in techniques that works for them? And so this time, I just came back now. We were
interesting.
doing gabions and one rock dam and things like this. And there was a small course on it to explain how simple it is and how you need to think when you deal with water,
Yeah.
because usually they create more erosion when they put rocks.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
logic is to put the most amount of rocks where the water flows, so the water goes around.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to block the water, you put a lot of water, a lot of rocks.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, but that's interesting. So you're
but
saying,
I would say
oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, sorry, to answer your question, I have been working also. One of the way that I really learned what I wanted to do, like how to apply that dream of mine of doing my permaculture, um, um, dream of mine of like working 8 work, traveling, complicated situations. How am I going to make that a job? How am I going to be not only making that a job, meaning I get money, but also like how am I going to be able to do that as a technically and physically. I learned a lot through going to East Africa with Seven Raven. It's a farm, Michael Nichols,
Yeah.
in on Salt Spring Island.
Yes.
They were, I don't know if they do still, a PDC, and then a part of this PDC at the end they would be doing a month in East Africa, building PPI, so Practical Permaculture Institute.
Okay.
And there I went to with them. I went to Kenya and Uganda, and then Zanzibar, PPIZ, Practical Permaculture Institute of Zanzibar. And
Yeah.
through these things, I think people can be empowered, because I as a foreigner can find the few people around me that are gathering that I can see, because the way they work, because the way they talk to me, I can see that if I help them set up a system, they will be able to keep it in place and do something with it. But I think the mass population will not learn from me, but learn from them.
Yes.
And so those PPIs institutes are great, because they're teaching local people, they're teaching teachers, and the
Yeah.
teachers go back to their school. They're doing a lot of local teaching by locals, and
Yeah.
so that is yeah,
Wow.
wildfire. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And so do you think, like, what are some of the factors that are, um, kind of, I mean, I'm sure there's probably some like some distrust of, foreigners coming in and telling people how to do, like, what to do on their land. And so it's better to kind of find, like you said, those kind of key individuals that are, leaders in the community that are really excited, so that they can then educate their community and have it spread that way. But like, has there been any other, yeah, I guess like factors that you found have either slowed kind of the spread of information or have helped speed it up, apart from finding those local leaders?
Definitely in the way I bring it, I used to be very enthusiastic about permaculture and all the different techniques and all the things that you can plug into thing, and then you can do. And if you do that, when I see you walking through the land and explaining how you can move the swivel pipe and then it goes into a hose and then now you can
Yeah.
spread it onto the pasture,
Yeah.
that is the way I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You don't apply this in
Interesting.
aid work. It just doesn't. It's too technical.
Okay.
Nobody's going to be thinking, oh, it's raining, I need to put my swivel pipe down. It's be like raining, well, I'm staying inside.
Really
And
interesting.
so and so where at my level, the spreading of information works only, and at any level obviously, but um, um, only if it works. If you have a system that works, where
Yeah.
you can feed your family, where you can produce, where it makes a difference, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
And the way where I need to be careful on how I deliver this message is not to overcomplicated things,
Yes.
but really, and I need to fight myself with this, is making it super simple,
Yeah.
making it the most hands-free and the longest lasting as possible. So I overdo the protection with the rocks on spillways, or I overplant. Because there is going to be something behind that's going to make it maybe not so good,
Yeah.
and I need to plan for that in the management as well, because we're talking about the 100-year flood or the whatever. Well, yes, this, but also the potentially overgrazing of something we planted, or there is you need to take in consideration, I need to take in consideration that people will not be looking at it the way I do when I implement it,
Yeah.
because of the technical level and just the cultural aspects.
Yeah.
Things are different.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, it's like when if you're in a situation where you're worried about kind of like where your next meal is going to come from, or you're like in a subsistence mindset, that totally makes sense. Where it would be hard to kind of think about all these other systems, and I mean even I also with my clients here in the first world in Canada, I also have to fight myself because I want to make things, get as many kind of connections and functions out of the system as possible. But you're right, you have
I
to.
can see that.
It's better to start simple and get it effective. And you can mention that, it's like, oh, by the way, here's something else, but it's like, yeah, you got to meet people where they're at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for me, there's not only uh, I don't know what's in your head, but I know that for you it's less of it should be less of an effort to be able to know who are your neighbors, basically, where they at in terms of information. I go to a village, like I go to Burundi. I never been to Burundi.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out how much of the population knows how to read and write, how much of the population went to school,
Yeah.
how much experience of farming they have. Tons
Yeah.
of experience, but what kind of experience they have. Like I need to figure all this while I'm looking at the land,
Yeah.
while I'm figuring out, okay, this needs to be done, this needs to be done. And then also, and this is uh, I think one of also with the traveling and um, the, the 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 fact that I've got no time to do all that, because I've got 3 weeks, so I've got a month.
Wow.
It's I used to, when I was in France, I used to do decoration for festivals, music festivals and others, and the festival is going to start, so you got to finish when it's there is a, so if you need to not work, not sleep for the next 3 nights because the festival starts. You got to do it, and that's the same kind of spirit. And that helps me to create a lot, but it comes completely in opposite with the style of like, okay, now we've got 9 months of drought, so well, it's if I do it properly, it's a good help, but it can become complicated as well.
Yeah.
Because the lifestyle, everything is different, very different.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm trying to, I've never done anything like that. So it's like a totally other world. And I can't imagine how, and there's a whole other level of like you said, you're going into a situation where it's a totally different culture. There's like, what they're speaking a different language, all that stuff, and having to figure out all of the kind of ecological stuff as well. And so like have
That's the easy bit. That's
I
the
know that,
easy bit.
yeah,
Honestly, that's the easy
yeah.
one.
And that's what I've found too is like I've actually spent like I got into this because I was really excited about growing things and animal systems and plants but I've started to realize that that's not the weak link. And for the last like 4 or 5 years, like I haven't read like an agricultural book or like watched any agricultural videos for like 3 or 4 years. Everything I watch is like philosophy, psychology,
Yes, yes,
communication. It's like that's the weak link. And I can't
exactly.
I can't imagine what it's like not even be able to speak the language and having that culture.
Mm.
But
Having someone that translates for you that never heard about permaculture, and you're trying to talk about mycelium, and
wow. Yeah.
it's a travel in a lot of different levels.
Yeah. Well,
I'm traveling a lot.
yeah, but it sounds like you like the challenge but it's
Yeah.
also sounds like you're seeing results from the work that you're doing and the benefits. And I'm sure that's
Yeah, I mean, in Burkina Faso, in Zanzibar, I had with Brendan Bauer from Salt Spring also. I don't know if you know him.
I'm not familiar with him.
I redesigned 2 portion of 3 acres. It was 2 times 3 acres for 2
Okay.
different owners, and we transformed this into a fruits and spice farm.
Yeah.
With a little way to go around and a small place where you could small restaurants and a shop and farms. And because in this place of Zanzibar there's a lot of spice tours. That's what
Okay.
tourists
Yeah.
go for. Yeah. And now, I mean, this place was, one of them was completely barren. I mean, few trees, but really like the cows were overgrazing it. And
Yeah.
the other one had 40 something 40. I went with a drone. I think it was 44 meters high coconuts on the grid, and that's it.
Wow. Wow.
That's yeah. And we had to come and put swales in there. And now I'm seeing Sangay, so it's part of a Sangay farm in Zanzibar. I see that on Instagram, on Facebook, and I see that she's harvesting. The owner is harvesting regularly, and I mean, this is awesome to see the diversity growing, and the fact that it's being used and how it's been transformed from what we've done to what she's doing. She
Yeah.
added goats, and I mean, it's awesome.
Mhm.
It's awesome to see especially the wet tropics, because it goes very fast in volume.
Yeah.
The dry tropics, or the dry land. You got to be there at the right time to see the difference, because I mean, no, it's not true. When you have a fence, then it stays up compared to having
Yeah.
the moors going all over every day, over everything until it's completely dead. That
Yeah.
being camels and donkeys and goats and sheep and
Yeah.
cows.
Yeah. So I know you put together a kind of little folder of some of the photos of some of the projects you've been working on. It'd be awesome if you could share your screen and
Yep.
just kind of go through some of those highlights for folks. And
Sure.
yeah, so I know for some people they're going to be listening to this on podcast. There is a video recording of this that's available on my YouTube channel. The link, it will be below in the description box, so you can go and look at some of these. But we will kind of describe them as we're going through. I know you sent it to me beforehand, and there's a couple of just amazing before and after shots, and it's really incredible to see that. I can't.
Let's get onto this. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see.
So I'm not sure if you can see them, because
Yeah,
it seems like the internet is a little bit yeah. So first picture here. This is the land here that we are. I was just talking about the 3 x 3 acres. So you can see there's one here, and then it's cut here, and then that's all coconuts.
Yeah.
And so those are the 2 pieces of land, and we turn this into this property here.
Wow.
You can see all the coconuts.
Holy cow. That's the same. And are those taken at the same time of year? Like, is one like kind of like a year after?
I couldn't tell you for that. That's 2 years after.
Wow.
That's 2 years after.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Same picture here. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah.
Oh, I moved this around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see the swales here.
Wow. Yeah,
full of bananas. It's difficult to see from above, but I mean, this is like, there is so much diversity. There's she started with we can see them here a little bit everywhere. There's papayas on the mound.
Yeah.
And a lot of things. There's, I think, 5 swales in there. The coconuts that we took down, because there is a movie on my YouTube channel. I will give you the link.
Sure.
The coconuts, we put down the coconuts with the excavator. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we used the wood to build all the everything that is out of wood in the farm here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
What else? This is a before picture. So this is another farm in Zanzibar.
Yeah.
Where you can see the sticks here. The sticks here are the where the swale is going to go, and this is basically the after picture. This is not finished. We still have a very too steep swale here. This would be the finished picture. I don't know if you need me to open them.
No, that's pretty good. I know you've got a lot of photos.
Yeah, this picture here was an interesting thing, because we made this coconut circle, which I believe was the first one in Zanzibar.
Okay.
I think they are 7 meters across, and we put around 10 to 11 coconuts around the circle, and bananas and taros inside.
Yeah.
Green gram on the berms. It was. This is how it looks like when it's nearly finished. The guys are still adjusting the slope of the
back slope
here. Yeah.
Wow. And so, like, how often in a rainy season will that swale fill?
Oh, this one. There is, first of all, in Zanzibar there is 2 rainy seasons, a short one and a long one.
Okay.
And I'd say in a very what do you call that, intense part of the rainy season, it fills up every day or every second day.
Wow.
Yeah, but over there we have a lot of coral and a lot of rocks in throughout, and so it infiltrates very quickly. So we need to put a lot of carbon in the soil here to make it a bit more spongious.
Okay.
Because it just disappears. It's a sandy loam, and there is not a lot of soil, so it just disappears very quickly. like Burkina Faso, where yeah, this is what this picture here is what we started with. This is the project at the beginning.
That's about as desert as you can get. My goodness.
Yeah, you know what? Not just this time. I was playing with my computer, and then there is always, you know, a bunch of kids coming around me when I'm working on the computer, especially when there is images and stuff like this in the village. Just there is no running water. There is no. I mean, there is few solar panels for radios or whatever. But I mean, it's really like, you know, when I project stuff on the wall, most of the people never saw a movie or, you know.
Wow.
So it's kind of the attraction, and everybody's coming. And so I started to play like stuff that I had on my computer, and that was like movies from the very beginning. And when I saw that, I was like, dude, where are we coming from? This is crazy. The difference in 2 years is, even for me that is doing this, I am amazed now, you know, from this site here.
Yeah.
When right now, this is exactly maybe, you know, yeah, a couple of weeks difference, but this is exactly the same time of the year.
Yeah.
Now, when we come on this site, there is birds that are flying away, like,
no
because
way.
there is so much vegetation and so much more life in general.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's
crazy.
insane.
So this is, yeah, this is what we're talking about. Fairly.
Wow. So how big of an area was this, like with all the water harvesting earthworks and stuff that you put in on this project?
So this site is 40 hectares.
Okay.
And it shrank a little bit as things were established. So we now have 20 hectares of agroforestry and 16 hectares, so 36, 16 hectares of grazing that we want to practice with. Yeah.
And so how much do you know what the total cost for, you know, like the earthworks and you know, tree
No,
planting and stuff, like what? No.
I couldn't tell you. Sorry. No.
No.
I spend. I don't look at. No, it's not true. But no, I don't know the total cost. No. This is after the first. The first. After the first rainy season, the swell.
Yeah.
All the swells and the vegetation that's starting to. Oh, sorry, no. This is this year.
Okay.
This is after 2 rainy seasons, so we can see the vegetation that's coming. It's difficult to see from above like this, and the conditions were not good. It was really windy, and there's a ton of dust in the sky, so it was difficult for me to do good pictures, aerial pictures.
Yeah.
But you can see all the tree plantings, and
you can see all that.
This is the same site, and this is the same area.
Wow.
Yeah. So we started with this. Laser level needed. We can't go with the A-frame there, because it's as much as I love to help people to get into it with simple tools. I'm also the romance crusher, and you know, this is not the romance, but the romantic crusher. It's it may sound very cool and very, oh wow, what are you doing is really nice, you know, how do I get to do that? And you get to do that because you want to get up and sweat and do something that seems impossible for everybody.
Yeah.
And in your head, you know, you can see the forest and you work towards it. And this takes specific tools.
No, I can't imagine laying out. I mean, some of those swales must be over 1 kilometer long.
Yeah, overall there is 3 kilometers.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing that 1 meter at a time with an A-frame.
With this. Oh yeah, no, it's just not. And
no,
to match, some of the swales have 2 overflows, and so they are very far apart. So we need to, even with the laser level, we need to take 2 intermediate points in order to get to the overflow on the other side. So
turning points.
definitely need to there is no need to turn. There's just need to go very far. There's nothing to turn around. But yeah, this is the tractor we're using. Very difficult again, the conditions. It took, because the tractor was coming directly from Europe and wasn't really well prepared. You can see here we started, there is no teeth on the bucket. It was very complicated. And it's difficult. It's difficult to understand. I feel bad every time I say how long jobs take, because in Canada you have an idea of like, okay, this is going to take 25 minutes, and then after that I can do something that's going to 1 hour and 15, and this took 6 weeks, because there's day off, there's people dying, so we can't work, because you know, this is not there is most like half the time the tractor was broken. I much later on, not too long ago, I've done a earthwork course with Spicer.
David Spicer.
David Spicer. And I showed him the plan and everything, and I said, okay, if you had the machine you wanted, how long would it take? And he said, 7 days.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. I know, yes, like,
but you never have the machine you want, and you never have the condition you want. You only have frustration building. So how do you manage with this? Is what I do.
Totally. The fastest I've ever dug a swale with I just did one here last winter. It was a 30-ton machine with like a 6-foot blade. We did 100 meters an hour. And these were
enough.
But I can't imagine. Like, I've tried digging them with tractors, and like even if you have a good tractor, like, it's difficult to do and to make everything consistent. Like, it's
it's very difficult. But the good thing is that well, first of all, the water is going to level everything. You know, the bottom of the swell doesn't need to be flat. That's okay. The top is more important. The overflows are definitely. But when you look at this picture above here, I don't know if I need to move this window here. When you look at this picture here, or this picture here, you know, if you're not consistent with your swell, what's going to happen? You still kind of remedy the situation, right? So there is a lot of difficulties in what I do, but also every time I do one hole, that's more water going in. Right. So obviously it needs to be done properly, but we're going from so far in a degradation world that any little bit will help. So you can screw up a little bit. You know, you don't need to be as perfect as what you are on your thing. This, but I'm pretty difficult with, and needs to be perfect. So we need to do a lot of hand labor after to finish off the work. Those are pictures of to show folks on how much erosion there is. You know, sometimes it's like 70 centimeters. Right? The seed was here, and the trunk grew here, and the root system went down here. So the root, the seed was planted here, around here, and from the top of the finger to the ground here, that's what we lost. Right? It's a crazy amount of erosion that there is, because there is absolutely nothing stopping water and then wind for the rest of the year.
And so how old would that tree be?
I couldn't tell you, because it's very difficult to say, because they're usually not in good condition, like you can see here. When most of your nutrients gathering system is exposed to 40 degrees, you don't grow fast. So it's very difficult to say how old those trees are.
But I mean, even if that tree was 100 years old, like, that's a crazy amount of erosion. Like,
this is not 100 years old. No, because 100 years old, I mean, one thing that I didn't mention is that this land here 40 years ago was a forest.
Wow.
I mean, maybe a forest on its way out, but there are still a lot of trees. The guys that I'm working with on the field, they're 30-ish years
Yeah.
old, right? They can tell me when they're young. So when you're 9, 7, 9, 10, you don't go to school. You have a big bull and you go and bring him to grass. And they all tell me that they were coming on that small hill or flat hill to feed their animals on the last patches of land when they were kids.
Wow.
So
So what
degradation
happened?
happens very quickly.
What happened there? Like what with
There
the?
was some years in the 70s where there was droughts, a few
Okay.
years of droughts,
Yeah.
and more population, more cutting the wood, because everybody every day, a few times a day, cooks on with wood.
Yeah.
That's the way it is, and nobody plants trees, so there's
Wow.
definitely a problem. And massive overgrazing. As soon as the what do you call that, the growth not the growing season is finished, they just let the animals go, and animals needs to find their own food.
Oh, okay.
So everything is being everything is like this. The
Wow.
whole entire country is like that. Yeah.
Wow. So how much water would they get in their rainy season on average?
I don't have the number here, but I think it's 280 or something like this. It's a lot of water, and that's one of the reasons for the degradation. It's there's a massive amount of water. There is no water issues, but
Yeah.
there's just a water holding issue.
Yeah.
There's
So
no infiltration.
is that millimeters or centimeters?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's millimeters.
No, it's two. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So it'd be just under 12
yeah.
inches, just under a
Yeah,
foot.
there is more. I'm confused with the numbers. Sorry. There is when I was living in Kelowna for a while in BC.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at the differences between Burkina and Kelowna, and at the vegetation we had in either place, and
Yeah.
there was more rain falling in Burkina than in
Yes.
Kelowna.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Like our average rainfall on our farm is about 280 millimeters or about 12
Yeah,
inches.
so
Yeah.
it's similar. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But it's just like they're so much closer to the equator and they have more evaporation and more.
Wow, the evaporation. Imagine, look at the pictures that I have on the screen right now. Like when water falls here, even if it goes onto the swell, which is here,
Yeah.
what's going to stop it from going back to the sky?
Yeah.
Nothing, especially that this soil is clay in a lot of parts. So
Interesting.
infiltration is very slow. So we need to plant a lot of stuff to
Wow.
make sure this clay is getting. So this is a little picture of what I see when I come out
Yeah.
of where I live
Yeah.
when I'm in a village. So it's a nice postcard. Go and work there, and it's way less romantic.
Yeah.
I don't have any issues. Obviously, I do it. There's no. I do it with pleasure,
Yeah.
right? But it's definitely not for everybody.
Yeah. I
If you
can't.
leave your door open at night, you got a donkey coming in your bedroom. Here we can see some of the work. It's the top swell here.
Yeah.
Starting, this is going to become the pond after.
Yeah.
There's a pond, and so yeah, this is the extent, because the work of the partnership with for Ometer in Burkina, and this is the case here, is in the in the partnership, the villagers need to come with 250 hectares of degraded land, which they don't use anymore. And then Ometer is coming with other things like helping them to plant trees and all this. And there is a partnership for 25 years and not NGO over 1 year taking pictures and going away.
20,
this is why it's very interesting.
25-year commitment.
25 years.
Wow.
Out of this 250 hectares, over the 25 years, half of it, like everything is being restored, and half of it goes to the village, and half of it goes to the company. And this is what we're practicing also on that pilot project, is how we can make money at regenerating the lands. And one of the ways they want to go is producing oil. But so therefore we are on very degraded land. Like nobody wants this land, even in the village. When we have very high aerial pictures at the beginning in the wet season, everything is green around. And where we are working, it's still looking like this. I mean, the trees have leaves, but there is very little vegetation growing on that, heavily compacted. I have few movies on the project on my YouTube channel where I take the soil and really it's gravel and dust. There's you can't call that soil.
No,
but I do. Here is the pond, the future pond with the pond wall, and the first well. And this is, well, that's not a before and after, because I hate when people do that. Giving you in dry land is very easy to make you look your work look good. You take a picture at right before the rainy season, and then right at the end of the rainy season is like, oh, but no, let's be realistic. This one is obviously during the rainy season, and this is after the second. Or let's say close to the end of the second rainy season.
Wow.
And most of the green that you see here, maybe I can click on it. Most of the green that you see here, most of the, like, I mean, it's difficult to see that everything is so much better, but you can see all the lines here everywhere, right?
Yes.
On the picture, you can see all the lines here. Everything has been, the whole entire site have been ripped with the Human-centric contour, following the the swell lines. Yeah,
amazing.
That made such an impact. So now we can see these pictures of becoming greener, but you can still see how, I mean, this is after 2 years of ripping the ground and really like deep rip, allowing for a lot of infiltration. You can see that how it's not good compared to this area here that is farmed, right? We're really on severely degraded land, yet we can come up with very green stuff. I don't know if I had added this movie. I don't know if you want me to play it. I don't know if it would work. It's a good place to see how it was, and
we can give it a shot. The video's been pretty good.
Let's see.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
It's a little bit slow on my end, so here.
There we go. And this video it's available on, like, you have it on your Instagram as well, or your YouTube channel?
I think I put it on Instagram. Yeah.
Okay. I'll have all those links in the description if folks want to check it out.
Yeah, the image is fairly poor. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, you can see that. And so
the volume here is, this is only this area ripped. It's crazy.
The stuff above slope. Yeah. Wow. So how many times have you subsoiled that area in the last 2 years?
Twice.
Wow.
Once before every rainy season.
Rainy season.
Yeah.
Wow. And how deep are you going?
As far as we can. There's so much rock that it's we had to reduce the amount of teeth we put on this on the plow, because it's
Yeah.
the plow would stay up all the time, because there was a rock underneath a teeth all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we went down to 4 teeth, and setting it at the first year, I think it was 20 or 15 centimeters, something like this, something not
Yeah.
really, you wish you could do 40. And the shear pins were busting regularly.
Yeah.
Even after I explained to the guy that he had to drive slowly. and then this year, it went much faster. Pretty much no pins were broken.
Really
Big difference, yeah.
interesting.
And the because it's not as like, there is rocks, but there is rocks in very, very compacted land. So when you come behind the rock, you need to push all the dirt also, when
Yeah.
usually you don't have all this. If you need to just push the rock, it's going to go somewhere because it can move. But
Yeah.
when it's not compacted, when it's compacted, it doesn't go anywhere. So boom,
Yeah.
it breaks.
Yeah. No, we
What an impact! What
I
an impact!
we bought a agro plow, which is like it's kind of a cheaper version of a yeoman's plow a couple
Yeah.
of years ago, and we have pretty rocky soils here. And we blew a lot of shear pins, but I'm surprised. What size? How many horsepower is that tractor? It looks like it's like a over 100 horse. Hey.
Yeah, I don't remember, but this is the tractors that they use to pull the plow. And I realized I didn't put any pictures of what Ometer is doing. This big plow to make the half moons.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a very, very heavy tractor. Yeah.
Yeah.
And very old, coming from Europe, because everything that has any kind of new technology doesn't work,
No.
because it just fries. It's when they go in the Sahel, in the north of Burkina, it's plus 40 very easily, plus 45 very easily.
Just melts it.
When they work at 47 degrees, and it's just, yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
One of the very simple thing that I'm teaching is, just put the rocks in the right way, and boom, vegetation grows.
Yeah.
On this picture, you can see this is the swell. Now it's been changed, but that's the top swell going into the pond, and so we need to slow it down. And
Yep.
yeah, this is what I was telling you about. There's often no pen and paper. We just use sticks, rocks, fingers, whatever, in a dust, and everybody can relate to, because this is what they do. When I would be talking to you, I take a notepad, and then
Yeah.
I go on the internet, and then we can relate.
Yeah.
You can't do that over there to really make people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't want to be teaching in a way where people are already like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to make an effort to understand. I need to be down to, and it's not a question of up and down, but
Yeah.
down on the earth,
Yeah.
to a comfortable thing. And then, and then they can go down and put their fingers and do things and put rocks and stuff. When, if I have a pen and a paper, nobody takes my pen. That's all the
Interesting.
time.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and so some of the latest watering system, we watering some crops. So there is a lot of moringa, around 2,000 moringas planting. The drip irrigation is being installed, and
Yeah.
this row here is and this one here is a mix of neem every 6 meters and jatropha in between, which are also oil producing, but for biodiesel. So we're
Okay.
trying, the idea is pilot projects, trying different species, and yeah.
Yeah.
This picture here is the latest work I've done doing a terrace around the pond. So there's nothing we can do, if you dig, you got dirt. So what do you do with the dirt? It's so flat. So we made like a belt around the pond. So before we can stop the water, we can make this flat and grow. Mainly, they're going to be growing grasses for the seeds, because they need thousands and thousands of kilograms of seeds to spread throughout the whole project that they have. And so it's if we can do seed production, it's also something very much reducing costs that they have.
Yeah.
And it's also stopping sediment from going into the pond. Yeah.
Interesting.
These guys here, Senalata, was planted by seed
Wow.
2 seasons ago.
Wow.
This is amazing.
It's like it's over 6 feet tall.
This is on the berm, eh? It's on the berm of the swell. So it's like
okay.
the prime stuff, but it's definitely, at least when I walk on the berm, it's definitely at least 5 foot. Being in Canada, I know what this means. So I'm not. So when you give a chance to nature to regenerate, boom, it's happening like very quickly. So this is one thing that the feel-good thing about dryland is, as soon as you do something, you have an impact. If you remove the lawnmowers.
Yeah, the animals.
Yeah. Yes, more swales. This super happy to see all this volume here. This is, I mean, it may not look like much, but remember all these 3 pictures here were looking like,
that just like totally nothing,
like this, right? Like absolutely nothing at all. So it's a crazy amount of, and this is now, this is the biomass that is now, after the end of the season is September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, we're nearly at the end of the. One thing that was incredible. I'm sorry, I'm getting very excited here. We had, like you can see on the picture here, we had the students going through the sites, and I was talking about regenerative practices and things, and to see things growing now, green and growing after so many months of dry land, of dry time, was already a mind-blowing. And then we got to a place where there was some deeper rips from the yeoman's plow.
Yeah.
And we planted beans, a certain type of bean that grows very far, like 5 meters long.
Wow.
And it's very big biomass producing. And we found beans in there. It didn't rain, we didn't water, nothing. We found beans in there, completely green, having flowers.
Oh man.
And it's like nearly 40 degrees, or it's about to be 40 degrees. I mean, it was already 40 degrees when I was there, but it's going to be over 40 degrees very soon. And it's like months of no rain.
Wow.
So really, as soon as you do something,
so
it pays off.
What is like the locals there, like, you know, those people that you were touring through the site, what's been their response, like when they're seeing, you know, the progress in the past 2 years?
So the people that were coming were partners from other villages, because this is becoming a training center as well. Yeah.
Okay.
And so people from other village come and learn what we're doing. So when they are going to get onto more different diversity in practice, they'll know already the information. And so they're completely, they don't understand.
Interesting.
They don't comprehend how this is possible, because this is not something, this is something that is, you know, like you were saying, we do in Canada, we're already out there. Well, this is completely out there. There's nobody doing things like this. I mean, doing like weird brownie ditches that, you know, go nowhere, and they don't even like drain the water when there is too much. I mean, this is completely not normal.
Yeah.
And so, but they get very quickly excited. Like we had around this Sana Lata here, we had everybody wanted to have seeds when we explain how good it is and how it's fixing atmospheric nitrogen and the biomass, and how shade is better than mulch on the ground. And you know, I lifted the branches, and on the bottom it's covered in leaves.
Yeah.
You know? And so they just say, I want to do that at my place, and they get the seeds. You know, this is awesome.
That's
and
it.
this is the also what I'm interested in, what we were talking about before, is that the fast response, the I'm not in the box. I can, you know, I see something good, I apply it.
You do it, yeah.
Right. Versus in North America, Europe, or, you know, in a lot of places in this world, you need to prove me like many times over that what you're doing is good, even if I know that I'm not happy with the system I have.
Yeah.
You know? They need to be reassured. It needs to be making sense number wise. It needs to
yeah.
Wait, over there, it's like, okay, I'm going.
Yeah, it needs to be CSA approved, and you've got to have, you know, engineered blueprints and all this stuff. Yeah, that's crazy.
Exactly.
Well,
and you need to be different. You need to have the coronas to be different than your neighbor, and that's a big thing also. You know, when everybody's farming the same way, everybody's wearing jeans. How come you're going to be wearing a shirt now? This is, you know, whoa, different. And
totally.
So over there, we don't have these problems. They don't really. If it makes sense, it makes sense. You know. Here, there's a picture with a little bit of water in the swale. Here,
yeah, you can see that.
A little bit of water. We made all this vegetation. There was absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. This is all yeoman's plow. It was so much so that they got overtaken by the grass, and a big bunch of the moringa disappeared.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, and those are the basins that we built, because before the drip line system, which is being installed now, they are watering by hand. So people are employed to water every day, and so the sites is being done in few over 4 days, I think, or 4 or 5 days.
Okay. Wow. Wow. I mean, we've blown. I can't believe we've been talking for over an hour. That's crazy, man. There's, it's just so exciting to see. Just
I get excited.
No, this, and I do too. It's so excited to see that transformation, and I really do encourage folks, like, if you're not watching the YouTube video, to go in and if you listen to this on podcast, check out the videos, because it's the before and after is just pretty amazing. So like, Ludo, for you, is like, what just kind of like wrapping up, like what are your hopes kind of for the future? What's coming up next for you and the work that you're doing? What's getting you excited?
My dreams are something like, if I close my eyes, it's something like, you know, very, very large projects in Yemen or something like this, you know, where it's like the worst you can imagine, where people don't want to go. This is where I'm very excited. We are now talking with Ecosia about doing a not quite sure, but around 700 hectare project in Morocco.
Wow.
On fairly degraded land. Water cycle needs to be re-enhanced, I'd say. Meaning there's very deep erosion channel. Yeah, that kind of thing show me that, you know, 700 hectares in dry land, where there is a very great potential for having good machines, and you know, it's not Burkina, No
Yeah.
offense to Burkina, but it's Morocco. Morocco is much more advanced. And so this, I'm very, very excited about this because we can have proper machine going on it and doing, you know, and there is a little bit of topography also. It's not all flat, so
It's flat,
that
yeah.
is also exciting. So yeah, large scale degraded land restoration is what I'm very but you know, like going to Burundi, this is a very small project, but I was interested in this because the NGO, sorry, in English, that I'm going to be working with has a very clear end states of their projects. So they want to help the locals to be independent, and if it wasn't the case, I wouldn't go. So
Yeah.
and that's become a training center for regenerative practices. I definitely want to be putting time into that kind of stuff because this is the way we're going to be able to make it.
Yeah. Well, you just blow me away, Ludo. I know Rob has he told me that he's been trying to get me to get you on the podcast for months now, and I'm glad we could finally get you on. It's really inspiring the work that you're doing, and you know I'm grateful that there's people like you that you're excited to go to those places and to do those things because that's not this kind of
I
stuff.
hear you. I hear you. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I know there's that need out there, but like for me, it's not my niche, like in my ecosystem, you know, it's like where I
Completely.
kind of thrive. But like one of the things I, you know, before I let you go, I've heard this several times, you know, guys like Jeff Lawton and Bill Mollison have said this many times, and I wanted to get kind of your perspective as somebody who's actually doing it. But the way I've heard it phrased is like permaculture has basically does more work in terms of like aid work than all of the other kind of NGO organizations combined. It's, you know, something like that, where or these not for profits. Um, and I just want to get your thoughts on that in terms of like are you saying that there's other permaculture projects, you know, folks like you that are out there kind of boots on the ground doing this kind of stuff, or it sounds like you are partnering with other NGOs? I guess it's like what has been the adoption of, you know, permaculture as a system with relation to aid work?
Yeah. This is definitely something that needs to be done much more because the traditional way of doing aid work is a business, is a NGO. So I make money because you're in poverty. So if I
Yeah.
really help you get out of it, I make no more money. So
Yeah.
it's well known, and don't get me started on NGOs. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying all NGOs are not good, but the
Yeah.
bigger they are usually, and the more, you know, business class plane tickets and big trucks and you know AC unit they have.
Yeah.
But the impact that you can have on aid situation with a permaculture mindset is tremendous because you only can go with whatever you have,
Yeah.
and because the rules, the laws of nature, and the rules which the frame of permaculture makes it that, you know, you will be doing something that has a positive impact. And so because it has a positive impact, it can be easily repeated because it's done with stuff on site. It can
Yeah.
be easily repeated by locals. And
Yeah.
so I think we need to go beyond aid work. We need to be thinking aid work, or we need to do aid work thinking business. You know, we
Yes.
need to be making money out of. We need to grow the thing to volumes where when you're harvesting, it's not only one tree or it's not only one lemongrass, but you're gonna have, you know, 600 meters of lemongrass, and then you can have, you know, volume, and then now you can get oil or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, I talk with the guys, and I talk with guys that are working throughout the country in Burkina Faso with Ometer, and all the guys that are coming from the Sahel, which is the northern part of Burkina, where there is terrorism and very difficult conditions because temperatures and no rain and all that.
Yeah.
They all tell me, it's all anonymous, that they're becoming more lazy because of NGOs, because they come, they have free money, and you do nothing. We plant for you. We do no. We take the pictures. We go away. Next year we have the same line of budget to burn, so we come again. And so therefore, people on the site and anywhere, they get a lot for free, and they don't get involved. And so it's really beyond not really fixing the problem, because it's not fixing the problem, because otherwise I don't have a job anymore. It's screwing with people's abilities to actually work and be existing for themselves. It's very bad, very bad.
Yeah. No, it's it's like they say that
Shouldn't be finishing on a note like this, but I mean, this is a reality. We need to change, and we have the capacity to do that in with ethics that makes that we care for these people, we care for the earth, and we're not putting everything in our pocket because we share the surplus. I mean, this is
yeah. No, it's so straightforward, but there's this the reality of kind of the learned helplessness that comes with any kind of a welfare type state where like you said, people are coming in and just giving everything to people, and it creates all these it ruins the local economies and the drive to do anything, and it makes them dependent. And then when the aid company runs out of money, then things are really bad, because it's like
it goes back to normal.
Yeah.
It goes back to normal. It goes back to worse, I guess. It's and often people come and they don't the objective of the project is not really consulted with locals. So, oh yeah, in Africa they need wells, let's go and do that. No, they don't need wells, they need water infiltration.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, it's like they got more water than I never thought of that, but I know a couple people that have like volunteered on projects to go and like build wells in Africa, because you think, well, it's a dry place, of course, like that's where we get our water from, that's where they should get their water. But oh man, it's like that saying.
Yes, and definitely in dry land, this is where you need to get you need to get your water from the well. That's not a I'm not discussing this, but how you recharge the well. Because otherwise, if your job as an NGO is to dig deeper, what is really your job is to deplenish the aquifer. That's what you do.
Just digging it deeper.
So you're making sure more and more people will need a deeper well until this is empty and nobody has water. That's just not the way to look at it.
No.
The way to look at it is to build, in dry land, obviously, swales. Kilometers and kilometers of swales, and reestablishing ecosystem. I get pissed off when with this.
I hear you, and like one of Bill Mollison's quotes is coming to my mind, is just like, although the problems in the world are increasingly complex, the solutions are embarrassingly simple. And but I mean, it's like
and it's really
oh, go ahead.
This is really what I'm sorry, it's the internet is not
no worries.
This is really how I somewhat feel explaining what I do, because it's so simple what I do. Like we were discussed right at the beginning, the problem is not the how you interact with the ecosystem. The problem is elsewhere. Fixing the nature is so simple, and because I don't have a lot of technical tools, because I don't have a lot of, it's really basic what I do. And so here I come talk to you when you have your drone footage going over your farm with all the different things laid out and all this, and this is like I'm playing in a sandbox, right? Literally, actually. But it's not complicated.
No.
The way I see my job, it's not complicated. It just needs to be done, and the way it's being done is by crazy mind like mine.
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to take it.
Awesome, man. Well, again, thank you so much, Ludo, for all that you do. Where can
Yeah.
people go to find out more about your work?
I will send you the link. You can post them below, but on Instagram, I try to post on Instagram abundant under what do you call that? The I don't know you say that in English. The line below, abundant on Instagram. If that internet
Okay.
is not good.
I think you cut out there for a
You got
second.
it?
Yeah. Can you say that
Yeah,
again,
I'll
Ludo?
send you the links. I'll send you this, but definitely when I'm on the jobs, I try to post when I have internet connection,
Oh,
regular pictures on Instagram.
yeah.
This goes to my Facebook, Abundant by Nature on Facebook, and abundantbynature.org is the website.
Fantastic. Okay, man. Well, I wish you all the best
I
in
think
the.
we perfect time. Yeah, the connection is starting to
Uh,
die, so it's perfect time to say bye-bye.
yeah, perfect timing. Yeah. Maybe we must have used up all the bandwidth in Bali there. But yeah, thank you so much
well,
for.
you know, my job, you got to be flexible, so perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Take care, man. Best of luck on all your next projects. We'll see you around.
And you as well. You as well.